This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
It's a bug-eat world out there, princess. One of those circle of life kind of things. Now let me tell you how things are supposed to work. The sun grows the food. The ants pick the food. The grasshoppers eat the food. And sometimes they can kill Prince John.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Was that a line from the movie?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Good night, everybody. It's been fun. Joel out.
Joel, come back.
We're not starting off with a Hopper joke. I had enough Hopper talk today.
We would like to... Oh, by the way, thanks for listening to Baconsale. I'm Kent.
I'm Joel.
And Jacob.
We'd like to thank everyone for listening to our most recent episode, which was My TV Dad Could Beat Up Your TV Dad, which has inspired a lot of strange conversation.
A lot of strange conversation because it started out, people were saying, oh, why'd you leave this person off? They could have, like, what's his name? Arnold from Wonder Years. They're like,
here's Mike Baxter from Last Man Standing.
Yeah, and they were like, here's who they could beat up. Here's who they could beat up. And then it turned into Pa Ingalls. Well, at least he didn't go up against Hopper. And then
I love how he said that.
I mean, I didn't keep track of count, but I'm thinking
I think it's 91 or something.
Yeah, about 91,000 texts later, tweets later. This conversation's still going on. I think right now, if I looked at my phone, there would be conversations about Hopper.
Here's the thing, Joel. I saw you in maybe 4 tweets. I think you tweeted 4 times.
It was probably like 6 to 8.
Okay. Yeah. I tweeted once, and that was it. We don't even need to be part of these conversations at this point.
They just go. And people just keep talking about them.
So if you'd like to be part of a conversation like Pa Ingalls versus Hopper the Grasshopper, join us on Twitter.
Yes, at Baconsale. They also happened on there was a whole thing Tim Hemingway put on Facebook.
Yeah,
where he talked about why. Who did he say was going to win?
He went nuts about Judge Philip Banks, about the dark, unknown history of Judge Philip Banks,
which is pretty well known. But that's the thing: is if you're not following us on social media, you're only getting part of the show. So follow us on social media.
But let's move on to the new show, which is what?
Today,
Kent's
guys,
most exciting show, Kent's favorite show.
This is actually, I think, a really good show idea. We're going to rank every Pixar movie ever.
Past and present and future.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to rank Incredibles 2.
I love Pixar. Kent 2017 loves Pixar.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Guys, I'm the one that controls the edit, so you cannot get me out of context in it. Oh, no. You do the Twitter.
Exactly. You are not immune. But if this is your first show, if you found us because you were looking for keywords such as Pixar and you found this podcast, you probably should know Kent does not have a favorable opinion of Pixar.
I don't.
He does now, apparently. You just heard him.
He did say he loves it.
Really, I'm just lying to everyone and trying to appease people so they don't hate me. This is one of those things
Too late.
But I want to dig into this a little bit just to start out.
Okay.
Have you always disliked Pixar, or was there a tipping point movie where you started to dislike Pixar? Starting with Toy Story was the first one.
Right. You know, here's how it started with me. Pixar came out with Toy Story in 1995.
Yes.
Was it 95, really?
It was 95. That's what Lightning McQueen's number is, remember?
Wow. So, wow. I was 14, and for some reason, I just bypassed it. I didn't watch it until maybe I was 17 or so.
You're not the right demographic, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just passed through the rest of the movies. I remember actually, the first movie I remember coming out was Toy Story 2. And it was getting a lot of acclaim.
That was the third movie they came with.
Right. Was that 99?
99.
And I was 18 years old. And so I thought, oh, cool, kids movie. I'll probably watch that with my kids one day. And I just kind of breezed by it. Then I went through the dark ages, or the black hole, as you call it.
Yes.
And went through college, and I didn't care. And I think the first one I saw in the theaters was probably Finding Nemo. And
Which is their fifth movie.
I feel like I was too old to really care. And then it went back to, as we all know, I like to play the hipster. I'm not the hipster.
Play the hipster.
But I like to play the hipster.
No, you're the hipster.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, these movies are really being like universally loved. What's the big deal? And I went and saw them, and I said, I guess I don't really understand. Toy Story did a lot of great things.
Right.
And I think Pixar, that was a great launch pad for them.
McQuack.
But I was kind of waiting for that.
Yep.
But I never caught the magic of Pixar, and that carried over basically throughout.
What about The Incredibles?
Well, we may get there.
Because that was the first one I saw.
Is it really? Okay.
In fact, the narrative you just told is mine exactly.
Okay.
Except for the
This
ending.
explains so much about you too.
Except for the ending where you're like, I saw Nemo, because I never saw that one, and because that was black hole for me, and then Incredibles was the first one. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that was actually my first impression.
So then, did you go back and watch everything you had missed?
Nope.
You still haven't.
Didn't care that much.
Welcome to Jake and Cell. I call the show Jake and Cell. Oh no, now we have a spin-off show.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Apathetic Jacob is here tonight, folks, just so you know.
I've seen the first one now. I still haven't seen the second one. I've seen the third one. Toy Story.
Yeah.
So
well, and
Wow.
you guys have much better memories than I do. But I don't remember the first Pixar movie I watched in theaters or at all. But I just remember watching Toy Story and being like, that was really well done. And then seeing Bugs Life being like, I like that one too. And then seeing Toy Story 2 and being like, I like that one too.
Yep.
And I will come full out and say here at the opening, since you dislike it and you're apathetic, that out of the 18 movies that we're going to be ranking today, because we're ranking from Cars 3, which just released, back to Toy Story 1, like anything in between there. Out of the 18 movies in there, I like, and I'd say like more than like probably 12.
Wow.
Like the majority of them.
I've said
like.
wow a million times. And I think it's because of our last show.
Wow.
You like 12?
I would say probably 12. In fact, I would say they are all good movies except for my bottom 4.
We were told to come up with a bottom 5 and a top 5. And I told you guys this the other day. I was going through, I'm like, okay, good. Here's my number 1. That's clear. 2, clear. 3, clear. 4, oh, okay. I feel okay about that. 5, these are all tier 2 at best.
Whereas I'm basically tier 1 until about, honestly, till tier number 14.
That's shocking to me. I like really struggled.
12.
In my heart, I put in a number 5, and it's maybe more of a joke because I just don't care about any of these movies.
Wow.
How do you really feel?
But no, here's the thing. I think Pixar is a concept factory. I think they have amazing concepts.
You realize you're bashing on Steve Jobs' product right now, and you are a Steve Jobs worshiper.
Hey, now that I have an Android phone, I can bash on Steve Jobs.
It's true.
I am so sorry, Steve.
You're
I am
on a
so
Mac
sorry.
right now.
Oh crap! So I think they are great concept artists. I think their short movies are actually really, really cool and very creative. I think that's all they have. I think they have great concepts and they are critic bait. I think these are movies that are only universally liked because parents don't feel bad about taking their kids because they're like, it's smart. It's a smart cartoon.
And they're gorgeous too.
And that's it. Yeah. They're gorgeous. And they're ahead of their time as far as computer animation goes. Yep. But parents don't feel terrible about taking them to a movie like this.
Man, well, you guys really are on like different spectrums.
Yeah,
here.
because I actually don't see how you feel that way. I'm trying to understand, but you're weird because the majority of people enjoy these movies because they appeal to both kids and adults. They are touching, they are funny, and I would say that Pixar did not make a misstep until their 12th movie with Cars 2.
You're crazy.
It was basically they were 11 for 11 at that point of good movies and well-made
everyone
movies.
was drinking the Kool-Aid because there was weakness.
Kool-Aid's
there.
delicious. I had some blue lemonade Kool-Aid the other day. It was
Joel,
delicious.
Let me tell you a story about
Man Named Ed.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get this started. So
let's get it started.
So, listener, in case it wasn't clear, we're going to start. We're going to go number 18 and
the
down.
beast keeps running.
Okay,
That's pretty good.
Okay, never mind. Let's get this started.
Yeah,
I don't
you
want to
break
go off
your
on
neck.
too many tangents.
So, 18. So, we're going to start with the very worst one. Like, this is the movie they hated the most, which I honestly kind of hate to spoil right at the beginning, but I guess it'll get us started.
But that's the thing. We're going to spoil our least favorite, but then we're going to build up to our most favorite.
It's true. So,
although I suspect that Kent and I are going to have the same bottom and the same top.
Can I give the description of the worst Pixar movie ever made?
let's hear it.
Is it the one?
I know exactly what this is.
This is just going to give Kent fuel. But is it the one where someone's pigeonholed into a situation that they don't really want to be in, and so they do their best to fight stereotype and get out of it?
That's pretty much every Pixar movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Pretty much every single one.
As I was watching Cars 3, I went, that's the story.
Now, guys, let me ask you this question. I want to talk about concepts and all the concepts that Pixar has. What if the planet-killing asteroid didn't hit Earth? Your answer is here. Dinosaurs start the age-old process of irrigation. It's time for The Good Dinosaur, the worst Pixar movie ever made. Joel?
Almost.
Okay.
Nope, we disagreed.
Okay,
Almost?
there you go.
Yeah,
Have you
almost.
seen The Good Dinosaur?
Yes. But
You have
there's-
watched that.
There's a saving grace in there.
Which is what?
What?
It's
We'll
pretty.
talk about it when I get to
Okay,
it.
okay.
Oh my gosh, that movie is
But we
so
can talk
bad.
about the negative of it now because that's not my number 18, so Kent, go first.
This is the most tedious kids movie I have ever seen. It's so boring. I just talked about irrigation, and that is no joke. This is a movie that they had completed, and they went back to the drawing board because they're like, maybe it's not good enough. And I think they finished the second copy of this movie in maybe 6 months, and it shows. There's no movie here. It becomes about a dinosaur and his boy, and there's no heart, there's no emotion that Pixar fans usually love.
Usually,
they usually get.
This is missing that. I'm not saying this is a good movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you have it somewhere near the bottom. But there's nothing to it. You have Bam Bam and his dinosaur. Dino.
All right, that wasn't close.
And none of the side...
You give it another try if
I'm
you
off
want.
today.
None of the side characters work. They try a Finding Nemo element with the scary dinosaurs and everything and all the threatening forces, and it's not there. I will say this movie is pretty, but this is torture.
I'm going to jump in a little bit on this one because I actually saw this one before Kent and thought of him immediately.
What?
In fact, I think I called you.
You told me to see this movie.
And I said, you have to watch this because it is the worst thing you'll ever see.
You don't tell him that. Just say to watch it.
No. He wasn't going to watch it otherwise.
No, but he's lowering my expectations.
No, I'm luring him in is what I'm doing.
But I love it when you tell him to watch a movie and he doesn't know if it's going to be good or bad.
He would never have watched it otherwise. He was like,
true.
I'm going to skip
watches
this.
the recommendations I give him.
That's because
I can't
want to do a
recommend
pitch show.
Anyway, yeah, and I was like, this is a total abomination. I couldn't even believe it was Pixar.
Right.
So anyway, all
There
right,
you
Joe.
go. You're number 18. My number 18, Peter Travers of Rolling Stone gave the movie 3.5 out of 4 stars, saying the sequel is a tire-burning burst of action and fun with a beating heart under its hood.
What?
It's Cars 2.
I hate Peter Travers.
He's a sellout.
Yeah, he really is.
So I put Cars 2 because I just really did not like this movie. I kind of talked about it just a little bit ago, but it's terrible. It's a terrible sequel. It does not live up to the first one, which I do enjoyed. And this is actually, as Kent, as a big fan of Rotten Tomatoes, will point out, that this is Pixar's only rotten score by a long shot. This has a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, which the next highest one I think is at 69.
I'm surprised that their checks didn't cash from the Disney Pixar checks, all the critics.
Oh, well, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think that this one, and that's why it bugs me that he says it has a beating heart under its hood, because this one had no heart. This is the story of Mater, who is
Who stole every scene in the first movie.
but he was a side character, and then they make him the main character. This is why things like Minions don't really work, because side characters are a good flavor, and then if you dump them in the spotlight, it's just too much.
Yeah, and it was the man who knew too little, essentially.
It was a ripoff of The Men Who Knew Too Little, and it was annoying. And the whole time I just kept thinking, this isn't really funny, and this isn't really entertaining. And the animation wasn't overly impressive. It was the same thing we'd seen before.
And cars ride in boats. Everything threw me off. They ride in jets with bases. And I was like, what's happening in this world?
And just so you know,
where are the people?
Cars 2 marks the first Pixar film not to be nominated for an Oscar. Also it didn't get nominated for Best Animated Feature. It didn't get any Oscar nominations. It was the first one that happened. This was a big misstep for Pixar, and I feel like it is their biggest misstep.
Who's the director on that one?
That would be John Lasseter.
And
co-director
Brad
Brad Lewis. Yeah.
Would you say this is kind of, and I'm not going to say beginning of the end, because they still have some juice in them.
Well, except for this, box office wise, this made $562 million worldwide, which beats Monsters Inc., Brave, WALL-E, Toy Story 1 and 2, Cars, Bugs Life, and The Good Dinosaur.
Yeah.
It beats all those in the box
Kids
office.
are stupid, man.
Just for sequels, yeah. Just
and
for
it's
the
not
sequel.
good.
Here's also the problem here, and we can talk about Pixar sequels in a little bit, but Steve Jobs, when he basically joined with Disney, he said, hey, look, I'm going to make these Pixar movies for you. I have this great creative team. And by the way, I'm paraphrasing and probably making stuff up right now. But he said, stop it with Aladdin 2. Stop it with Aladdin 3. Stop it with all your sequels to your Disney classics. I need you to stop, because we're going to come up with all new original content, and you need to do the same. Disney's like, great. And this is where Pixar, even though Toy Story 2 was very successful, this is where Pixar was like, you know what? We're just going to make sequels to our properties, and we're going to keep going. And I think they lost the originality.
They did. Also, Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, and that's when Pixar tanked this one.
Oh, there you go.
Coincidence?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe they murdered him
Steve
so
Jobs.
that they could make Cars 2.
Let's not bring this dark.
I think Pixar murdered Steve
Also,
Jobs.
the
Steve
short
Jobs disconnected with him.
Steve
in
Jobs.
It was like the late 80s when he disconnected with Pixar. It was ages ago.
With Pixar?
Yeah.
They weren't even.
They didn't start until like
95.
94.
No, they did. They started in the 80s because they were originally with Lucas and.
But Steve Jobs was with them in the 90s when they
And
started.
when he started working with Disney, that was
Yeah.
95.
I thought he left sooner than that.
No.
All right.
He had to make his money first.
This was also accompanied with Hawaiian Vacation, which is the Toy Story spinoff, which also wasn't a very good short. And that's
of all the shorts, I think the Toy Story ones are the worst.
They
actually.
are.
Yes.
And I am factoring in the shorts into the rating of my movies. And so this wasn't a good short. It wasn't a good movie. It wasn't a good sequel. This is my least favorite.
All right, let's go.
Same. That's my number 17.
That's
I'm
17?
not same, but that's the next transition.
Oh, 17.
That's the second worst. Cars 2.
Oh, so you get to go first every time. Is that what we're saying here? Okay, fine. Yeah, for it. And my 17 is Good Dinosaur. Right. Which that actually is the lowest grossing. Good Dinosaur is the lowest grossing Pixar film at $332 million.
They didn't market that one at all.
Well, and with their
reason.
budget, with marketing, they actually spent $350 million, so they didn't even recoup the cost.
Whoa.
So that was a big misstep. But I didn't put this as low because the animation is beautiful. The scenery is amazing, and it's like they had this
lovely animation.
They had this beautiful painting of like Yellowstone, and it was amazing, and it was beautiful. And someone came up and slapped a dinosaur sticker on it.
Yes, that's exactly.
That's what it felt like to me. But and maybe it's because I love up there in that area.
Look so stupid.
I love the Yellowstone area. I love that the beautiful area that it is. And this movie had a lot of those references, and so it did pull me in there. But the whole time I spent watching this movie, I was watching Good Dinosaur, going, "Why are they dinosaurs? Like, why did they decide to make these characters dinosaurs? There's no need to make them dinosaurs."
And why did the Tetons look just like they did 300 million years ago?
And that's the thing. This whole thing lost focus. I mean, it really did start out as the asteroid bypassed us. We're fine. And now what? I mean, nothing. They didn't take it anywhere.
Mm-hmm. No. And it came with Sanjay's super team, which actually was a pretty fun short, but not
disagree.
great.
I think it's cashing in on superhero craze. Yeah. Anyways, Joel, what's your number 16? Or your third?
Well, do you want to talk any more about Cars 2, about your 17?
No, I really don't. I watched this the other night because I'd only seen this in scattered pieces, and I knew it was terrible. So I said, I never want to watch this one. But for the show, I've put myself through a real nightmare.
That blew my mind.
What?
That you had such hate for Pixar.
And I haven't even seen some of the worst.
In the 130 shows we've done here, you've had such hate for Pixar on every single episode. And then you're like, oh, but I haven't seen 12 of them. So... But I hate them.
It was 3, and I'd seen enough with my kids. I usually just leave the room when they're watching. I say, I'll subject them to this poison and walk out.
Which, if you put a Pixar movie on, I'll watch it with my kids. I enjoy almost every one of these.
Yeah.
But my number 16, in 16th place, and we're still in the kind of the bad territory here.
For sure.
And I will be.
This is the third worst.
This one was also not nominated for any Academy Awards that year because Frozen got all the spotlight. It has a 78% Rotten Tomatoes, $744 million worldwide. It is, Kent?
Monsters University.
That is correct. Is that your 16?
It is not.
Oh, okay. So Monsters University.
This is number 1.
Monsters University is kind of funny because it was Circle 7 Animation was this unit that Disney created because when they worked with Pixar, they said, hey, you can create these films, but we have rights to all the characters and can make whatever sequels we want. And so Circle 7 was formed. And they actually worked on early drafts of Toy Story 3, Monsters, Inc. 2, Lost in Scaradise, and Finding Nemo 2. But every time Pixar came in and said, we can do that better. And so Circle 7 got shut down before it ever did anything. So I kind of feel bad.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually called them Pixar'n't because they weren't Pixar. But none of their projects got off the ground. And this was one of them where they had a whole treatment about Scully and Mike Wazowski getting caught in the human world and having to find their way back. And they trashed it and made it into this buddy story of how they met each other, how Mike and Scully met each other.
Which actually went against canon. The canon they set in Monsters Inc.
The canon in Monsters Inc. in the first film,
he knows this.
Mike tells Scully, you've been jealous of my good looks since the 4th grade. Mm-hmm. And the director went, it's just a movie. And then later on he's like, no, that's just a saying that monsters say to each other. It's common in Monster Land to say since the 4th grade. It's like you could have just read your script and been like, eh. But this movie, I felt like it's Animal House for kids. Yes. It's Revenge of the Nerds for kids. It's all these college movies that we like.
My description says Animal House for kids.
There you go. But it doesn't really work. It tries to be good, but it just... the dynamic between Mike and Scully is so good in Monsters, Inc. And in this movie, it just... the fact that they don't like each other, it seems almost forced again. So I don't like Monsters University that much.
Okay.
My number 16th in 16th place came out last year. It is Finding Dory.
Number 16, huh?
One of 16. The most...
$1 billion.
Isn't that insane?
And you don't like it.
I really don't like it.
You're saying $1
but
billion?
Susan Sarandon, right?
Can't be wrong.
Susan Sarandon, she is
that who it was?
Sigourney Weaver?
Sigourney Weaver, that's what it was.
Yeah, she likes paychecks. She'll take a paycheck with anything.
I was so confused. I was trying to figure out what is Susan Sarandon?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, dang it.
Yeah, it's okay.
They took, well, I guess I would say the most likable character from the first movie, which Cars did the same thing with their sequel, and made a movie for her. And it really didn't work for me at all. It was such a useless movie. In fact, why even have Nemo and Marlin in the movie? Because they kind of just followed her the whole time and went from
it was
body of water to body
story.
of water. And it was really just awful. And they were going for that emotional impact at the end when she meets her parents again. And it fell so flat for me. The journey was so long. And I really didn't care. And it reused scenes from previous Pixar movies, like when the kids reach in the water to try to touch the fish in like the little petting area.
Okay.
We basically stole from Toy Story 3. And it really just, it was like Pixar being like, we don't really need to try that hard because people loved Finding Nemo so much. And they have, but I don't know if it's like an engine or whatever, but how they create water and in a world underwater to make it seem so real, it looks amazing.
It does.
But the characters were garbage.
Garbage?
They were all carp. You might as well just made that movie and just had it be all carp. Because that's about the emotional impact I felt with that.
I kind of wish it had been carp.
All carp, all the time. What can you guys animate? Carp. You make them all carp.
Suckerfish.
Wow.
They're like the carpet lagoon that, you drop your shoe falls in when you're on the paddle boats and the carpet, I'll try to eat your leg. That was this movie to me.
Oh, that's terrible.
Really didn't need to be made. The best character was that Hank, the octopus.
Yeah.
And they used him pretty well. Ed O'Neill voiced him.
I was going to say Al Bundy, and I was close.
And I thought that was a really great addition to the Finding Nemo mythology, but I'm sure we're going to have Finding Hank in the next one because they're going to make a number 3.
Probably.
And I really hope they don't.
If they keep making $1 billion, they will.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was your 16?
Yes.
All right, give us your 15.
My 15 is Animal House for Kids. It's Monsters University.
Okay.
Much like you with Cars 2 or Cars 3, I saw this one by myself. And I felt like the biggest creeper. That
makes it sound so sad.
I felt like the biggest creeper seeing this
you
movie.
always feel like the biggest creeper in the room.
Yeah, it's weird when I have the fake mustache on, and I don't know why I wear aviators inside the movie theater. They're 3D glasses. Shut up.
I'm like Bono.
Give me some popcorn. But this movie is probably the most joke-filled of any Pixar movie.
Monsters University?
I think so.
Really?
Because they're trying so hard to be like those college comedies like Revenge of the Nerds.
Was this one of the ones you just
Animal
watched
House.
recently for the first time?
No,
you said you watched that
in the theater.
Alone. Yeah, Alone.
And Alone, thank you for adding that again. I thought this one fell flat. I liked that the familiar voices were there, like Nathan Fillion was there.
Yep.
And, it's always kind of fun to hear his voice.
I like
He
Nathan
played
Fillion.
the jock. But then they had this like jock competition at the end that really didn't work. It didn't have the same originality, and I actually like Monsters, Inc., which we'll get into.
Right.
It lost all of the originality and it was just like, hey, joke machine, here you go.
And that one came with the short blue umbrella, that was
I'm trying to remember that one.
Umbrellas are trying to find each
On the
other in
street?
a crowd. Yeah, it's all black umbrellas, and they have the different color ones that are trying to find each other. But yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly it. It's not great.
All right.
My number 15 I actually saw tonight, and it was Cars 3.
That's pretty
15,
low.
huh?
It is, but the way I did my list, it
Well,
just
straight C because you like most of them.
Yeah, so now we're tipping into it.
Yeah.
Tipping into the good factor. But I said this in the bacon bit. I feel like this should have been the sequel for Cars 2. But it just is a weaker story because it feels like a rehash of the first movie. Projected to gross around $60 million domestically. So,
okay.
But I'm thinking this is going to be pretty high grossing because kids are going to want to see
twice
it.
as much as The Mummy.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Mummy.
But this actually, as of now, as the last I checked, has the second lowest Rotten Tomato score of 69%. So,
do you think the Cars franchise just gets kind of like a bad rap?
well, that's the funny thing is
Well, how interesting can it be anyway from the beginning? Cars are not.
By the way,
They're cars.
yeah, they're cars.
yeah. So the lowest rated is Cars 2. The second lowest rated is Cars 3. Guess what the third lowest rated is? Cars.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I be honest though? Pixar, they have a lot of good concepts, like I said, and they're like, we've made a movie about fish. We made a movie about toys, even monsters. What should we do now? Cars.
We're not talking about Cars, though. We're talking about Cars 3.
Well,
Don't jump ahead.
There's actually a story there, though. John Lasseter was obsessed with cars as a kid, and it's like his baby pet project.
Cars.
It's like, hey,
Baby Pet
I'm in
Project
charge
was
of
my
things
band's name
now.
in college.
Ah, really?
The joke's back, baby.
No, it's been retired.
Anyway, it was like, hey, I'm in charge of everything. I can do what I want. Let's make a movie about cars. And everyone's like, if you say so.
But we're talking about Cars 3, so we'll get into Cars when we get around to
All
that.
right. You already know all this. All right. So what's next up?
My 14.
Number 14.
And this is in the solid average territory now.
Average. That means
Tier
above
2?
C then? Because the last one was C.
These are about the same.
Okay.
And so this is C territory. It made $540 million and has a Rotten Tomato score of 78% and won Best Animated Feature in 2012. It's Brave. Brave is the story of a girl who's brave and strong and doesn't want to be tied down to one man and be betrothed to anyone because she is her own independent woman with curly red hair. That's Brave.
But it is luxurious red hair, let's be honest.
They added almost every single one of these Pixar movies. When you read about it, it's like they had to invent some new software to do the animation they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And her hair required new software because they were making it insane. Like just not insane like crazy hair.
Like
but
Pantene Pro V,
how
that kind of software that just make it softer.
That's what they named
volume.
In how it moved and how it looked. Like they had to do so much to make it look right. This was preceded by the short film entitled La Luna, which is about the kid who goes to the moon.
Yeah.
Which was cute.
It's fine.
And this is actually the first Pixar fairy tale, which I thought was interesting.
Felt like a very Disney-esque movie, right?
It did. And people forget that this one is Pixar because it feels so Disney. That's what a lot of the reviews said. That says it feels like standard Disney fare.
Right.
Because it was.
Well, she's now a Disney princess.
She is.
That's true.
She was originally supposed to be voiced by Reese Witherspoon, by the way.
Oh, I'm glad she wasn't.
But she had scheduling conflicts and she couldn't get a Scottish
Kelly
accent
MacDonald.
right. So Kelly MacDonald took it and she did fantastic.
It sounds like you really don't dislike this movie, though.
No, I like Kelly MacDonald.
Yeah.
But this...
More than a friend, probably.
But the whole...
Tell us more.
But the whole story, I felt... It didn't feel quite right. Like, I felt something was just kind of off the whole movie, and it didn't have the heart. So, and that's going to be a lot of the complaints with all these. But this is an average movie, and so that's why it's my number... No,
14.
It's an average movie, but it's 14.
All right. Because you like most of the ones going forward.
I do. And
He even
Which
likes
is
this one.
Crazy to me.
no, I went through every movie when I was doing these rankings and said, okay, which do I like better, X or Y? Why?
All right,
Which do I like
what's
better?
your next one, and why do you hate it?
The fifth worst, or my number 14.
That'll get confusing. Don't do that. Just say 14.
Number 14, it's not down. It's up.
It's up.
Up got that low?
Yeah.
What about the intro, though?
The intro is a great short film.
He does have a heart.
He does.
Followed by 86 minutes of filler.
Yeah.
The 86 minutes to
true.
follow.
No. I agree completely.
Is some
You
of
guys are both wrong.
the most garbage laden that couldn't follow honestly a great short film. Had they just released that short film, and this is what it boils down to with me and Pixar.
Okay,
they have short stories, and that's why I think they do shorts before the movies, because they go, man, can we spread out La Luna? Can we make that a whole movie? No. Can we spread out this great story that where quickly we get someone involved with the husband and wife, where the wife dies and everyone cries?
Wait, you're
like,
talking about Up
and no,
or
I'm going
How I
back
Met
to,
Your Mother?
back to Up. Yes. And they're like, no, we don't have a great ending. Up follows up this beautiful story where you're immediately sympathizing with this couple. And then it's a flying house and you're like, oh, that's a cool concept. And then you're like, oh, it's a grumpy old man and, adventurous kid. And there's talking dogs. And
yeah, there's dogs with collars that let them talk.
And there's a story about
it's a wonderful fantasy adventure.
It is far from wonderful.
No, it's wonderful.
Actually,
It's a delight. It is a delight.
I would actually say if this movie were only the 86 minutes that follow the intro, this may be almost equal to The Good Dinosaur for me.
No, not at all.
It's pretty bad.
There's some humor in here.
Do you know what humor?
Doug is awesome.
Doug is far from
loves
awesome.
Doug the dog.
Squirrel.
I'm glad you brought that up.
But it's kitschy, so Ken hates it.
I'll tell you why that's bad.
It's not bad.
That's a funny joke, and it's repeatable and everything. And it's so repeatable that they repeat this joke 14 times in the movie. The decoy joke is used anytime they need a Deus Ex Machina.
It feels like he's counting, but I'm guessing that number's made up.
No, well, it's actually 11. I just said 14, so I like to embellish.
It's funny.
And it's funny.
It gets funnier as it goes along.
It's funny. It doesn't add anything because they go, squirrel, tennis ball. They use the same joke and it never
because
builds.
they're dogs. How many times can you throw a ball and a dog will go chase it? How many times?
Every time, I suppose.
That's a dog's personality.
Yay, show me a movie with the same joke over and over again. Like, it's a decoy joke used again and again.
It's a good point, Joel. It's a good point. Because that is the joke, right? Is that the dogs never get over it.
Yeah.
I feel like this could have, and I think it ends fine, really, but they waste a villain that could have been great, because I feel like with the main character's story... Is Muntz the main character or the villain?
No, villain.
I feel like they turn him really quickly.
I'm pretty sure.
And they could have had a parallel where the main dude, I don't even know his name because I don't really care for this movie that much.
Old Man
Ed
Balloons.
Asner.
Old Man Balloons.
Old Man Crypants.
Don't call him Old Man Balloons.
Can I call him Old Man Crypants?
Yeah, sure, if you want
Grumpy
to.
Old Crypants.
Grumpy Old Crypants.
He has this journey.
That wasn't what I agreed to. We said Old Man Crypants.
He has this journey where he's trying to do this because he made a goal with his wife.
Carl Fredricksen.
Okay. And then guy who kidnapped the Boy Scout. And I think the villain should have had the same almost parallel path, but they kind of they don't really write the villain very well, and it becomes bleh.
No.
This is the 5th worst Pixar movie. I'm sorry.
I disagree.
You can disagree because there's 10 minutes of brilliance here, but 86 minutes of garbage.
No, it's the 10 minutes of emotional powerhouse to get you pulled in, and then a fun fantasy adventure.
To get you pulled in to be like, yep, everyone's going to love this movie, even though we have nothing to follow.
No, it was brilliantly done because that totally gets the parents involved, and
Joel,
then they enjoy the rest of the movie.
Imagine if the rest of the movie was that impactful. That would be one of the best animated films of all time.
That would be, but that would be more of an adult movie. This is for kids.
No, I'm not saying it needs to be a movie about death. I'm saying imagine
you would love it if there was a dark and gritty reboot of Up. Just admit it.
I probably would. But
Black
imagine
balloons come out of the house.
Imagine they were able to take, because that movie in just a few minutes brings you into the lives of these characters.
Kent
right?
wanted it to be Howl's Moving Castle.
Huh?
He wanted it to be Howl's Moving Castle, and it's not Howl's Moving Castle.
Studio Ghibli?
It is Up.
Yeah. But imagine had they continued with that characterization the whole time. But instead they went for concept that didn't work.
It did
Talking
work.
dogs.
Yes, talking dogs were
3?
good. Kent, that
Somebody
is adorable.
It's adorable, and you're going to talk about it more.
I will.
So,
All right, let's go on.
Bashing on my number one list.
Really?
No.
Okay. I was like, ew.
All right, what are we on? 13, starting with Kent.
My
All
number
right, Kent.
13, we talked about this already, is Cars 3.
It made it that high.
Oh, so my...
Above Up?
Yeah. My synopsis, you're going to say this about
the
every...
second sequel is below an original story.
Kids love Lightning McQueen and racing. Oh, and millennials are the worst. That's the story synopsis I found on IMDb.
I'm sure you did.
Capital I, meaning me.
Right.
Yeah, this movie was, like I said, nothing impressive. It wasn't harmful at all. It was fine to watch, if not a little tedious, but it was unnecessary, largely.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about Cars 3
Yeah,
enough, really.
Yours?
My number 13 is actually Finding Dory.
Okay.
With 1.03 billion worldwide, the second highest grossing.
He didn't argue a lot with you about that one.
No.
Yeah.
But got a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mercy. Seriously?
Yeah.
94?
And not nominated for any Academy Awards. Any at all.
Keep in mind, and I think it would have been...
to Zootopia.
I think it would have been because critics fall over themselves to praise Pixar, and it's something I really don't understand. But last year was such a good year for animated movies. There were so many great movies, and somehow Zootopia won, which I think was maybe
great.
third or fourth deserving.
I have a special place for Zootopia in my heart.
'Cause your kids like it?
My daughter loves it.
Okay.
Like she dressed up as Judy.
All right,
Pops.
that's
And
cute. Not an Oscar-winning cute.
I didn't
but
like it the
that's
first
still
time.
Cute.
I thought, well, what should have won then?
Kubo and the Two Strings, for example.
For sure.
Well, if you like falling asleep in movies.
Or
But okay.
beautiful movies with
it's
actual heart.
It is beautiful. Put it in the background of a hot topic and you've got it made.
Are you kidding me?
Keep it
This
on
isn't
mute.
Coraline. Oh, shameful.
Anyway, I'm just needling Kent here.
that's
Just
great.
needling. Don't worry about it.
He's just getting even.
I like how you were acting like the villain on the Pixar show.
I'm not, though, because you're sitting there bashing on a movie and I have to defend it. And then so I have to barb you every now and then.
Okay.
But I want
You
to
do
say about Finding Dory is that once Finding Dory came out, there was, of course, a surge in people wanting to own blue tang fish.
Okay.
Well, that's what type of fish that Dory is.
Is that drink that you mix in?
Yes,
And-
exactly.
okay.
Blue tangs. But I just want to read this. Blue tangs cannot be bred in captivity and have to be caught in the wild. So this whole story about don't capture fish is causing kids to capture fish. And
That's
then
kind of funny.
also
That's really sad. That's actually what that is.
It is. And little known fact, their tails, well, actually they're related to the sturgeonfish, and their tails have razor sharp spines on them that can inflict formidable wounds, is what it says here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Formidable.
So Dory is actually a dangerous fish, and yet kids are like, Dory! So be careful. Don't get your kids blue tangs.
Number 12.
My number 12, 857 million worldwide, 98% Rotten Tomatoes, won Best Animated Feature, and nominated for Original Screenplay. It was accompanied with the short animated film Lava, and it is
That's a lot of
Inside
awards.
It was what?
Inside Out.
Oh, okay. Wow. This is low.
It wasn't.
This does seem low.
And I almost lost a friend because of my rating of this movie, where I said, it's okay. It wasn't my favorite. And she was like, this is the best movie ever made. And I'm like, it's basically Herman's Head. And then it became
Yes.
this whole thing. But this is the story about a bunch of emotions who may or may not have emotions inside their heads, but they're inside a girl's head and they control her.
That part
but
is
not
confusing.
always.
That part is confusing.
Like when you start really breaking down the story, it doesn't hold up. But for a movie about emotions, this does hit some good emotional points. So bravo to them for doing that part of it. But it didn't appeal to me as much as some of the earlier works.
they nailed the imaginary friend, whatever his name
Bing
was.
Bong.
Bing
See,
Bong.
I
Man.
don't feel they did.
Oh, that crap was spot on.
Bing Bong got me.
Yep, me too.
Bing Bong gotcha, huh?
Bing Bong got me.
I feel like this one will age.
Bing Bong played ping pong with my heart.
I feel like this one will age the worst of any Pixar movie. I think,
You think so?
annoying aspects of this movie will really just, I mean, because everyone loved this movie when it first came out, and now it's kind of like Avatar. Like, no one even realizes
That's true.
it exists.
It has kind of disappeared, hasn't
and
it?
Thankfully, it's really annoying, actually.
Well, but they do some interesting things in here. First of all, it's an original concept, which I appreciate.
Too.
And also, they did some original looks on the characters. Like, their skin is like
has the
tiny
fuzzy
little
appeal.
bubbles.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at it going, how did they do that? That looks really cool. And it's not human, which is and not animal. And so it made it kind of interesting to watch. I do feel like they kind of were showboating a little bit with the voice acting. Like, I felt like it was a little too, hey, this is not the character, this is the actor who's playing the character.
Right.
And that bothered me. But also the ending scene when it's just when the guy's talking to the girl and his brain's going, girl, 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 girl. That part cracked me up. And
that was the only part that cracked me.
What happened to you when you saw that part?
that part really got me, but that was it. And that was the end of the movie.
But you didn't get emotional at all? Oh, you don't
No.
get emotional in movies. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
You're a robot.
Wah, wah.
No, this hit some good emotional points, but not my favorite. And that's why I'm ranking it number 12.
Number 12.
My number 12 is Wally. Joel is taking a drink, and he almost spit it all over me.
I didn't know you were going to do an ET impersonation.
Wally. Good, Wally. Wally is Johnny Five falls in love, but trouble begins when he runs into fat people. This is an incredibly preachy movie that people praise as art, because for 40 minutes it's nearly a silent movie where two robots fall in love.
Aren't we getting to the point where we're going to start liking these movies, Ken?
At any point? 4 through 1.
Yeah,
4 through 1. Remember, that's all you get.
Okay. This is your number 12?
This is my number 12.
We got a lot of hate coming. So, what about at the beginning, though? Because I actually enjoyed the beginning.
This one more than Up.
And then started hating it after that.
Wait, so you like the beginning, then you hated it?
I liked the beginning, then started hating it. Yeah. Did you have that experience, or did you just not like it the whole time?
I feel like I've seen that movie before.
It is kind of like Up,
where someone's roaming around a garbage planet and trying to be creative. And I feel like this movie really, really tried to force that and didn't have a story.
But there's nothing spoken for like how long?
Right, and
like,
for a kid's movie, that is impressive.
Really impressive.
It
right?
is, and that's why, even though I was really bored.
But didn't you like the short at the beginning, the Prestige? Didn't you like that?
I really, good call. Good call.
It's Presto. It has the magician and the bunny.
Yeah, I do like the beginning. I watched this
one of my favorites
the other night.
Oh, did you? For the first time?
Well, for the first time mostly. Because most of these movies, well, if I haven't seen a movie, I've seen 10 minutes, I said, I'm good. But this one,
spoken like a true film critic. Right. Shine your flashlight at the screen and you're done.
But no, I didn't care for Wally at all, and I know people will hate me for that. Yes. Okay, so let's cruise to the middle section, should we?
Yeah, it just takes some time.
My number 11, Joel, we are pretty similar here, is Inside Out.
And my number 11 is Wall-E.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay, high five on that one.
You can't high five on it. Yours was 12.
Yeah, it was still.
No, it can't high five unless it matches the thing. Those are the rules.
So Inside Out, feelings have feelings, and you hope that sadness would just go away forever. And Bing Bong makes people cry because of imaginary friends they thankfully grew out of. Creepy.
Well, in Wall-E, I will talk about my number 11 being Wall-E, because anyone who's an animator, like all my graphic design friends and people who are into graphic design, love Wall-E. They absolutely love it. It makes almost all the top of their list because it tells a story without words.
That part's amazing. That part is amazing.
And also, I found out that a lot of the animators watched a bunch of silent films, in particular Buster Keaton, because he was known as Old Stoneface because he doesn't have a lot of emotion on his face even. And with Wall-E, they don't have a lot of emotion on the face, so they have to go with the story without telling. And I thought that was good.
Because it's like 20 minutes with no words.
Yeah.
And at that
longer,
point,
I think.
I was like, well done, guys, for that. Yeah. And then I watched a terrible movie after that.
And this did win Best
Great
Animator.
Great concept, bad movie.
No, not bad movie. We're in good movies now. Now we're in good movies.
The fat people and the floating chairs.
It felt a little preachy.
Super preachy.
I mean, it was Lorax bad. Yes.
But this is still in good territory. We're now into good territory in Joel's book. Everything from here on out, everything is good. Or great.
That was tier 3.
Or praiseworthy, or of good report.
Tier 2. Hardly.
All right, my number 10 is A Bug's Life.
Okay.
And I put this one on there because it is...
Is it because you're angry? Is it because you're mad?
I'm not even talking about that.
You refuse to talk about it.
I'm not talking about anything. All I'm talking about this movie because it was the second movie that came out from Pixar, but it's largely forgotten. Like everyone goes,
you would have ranked it
Bug's
higher.
Life.
You know,
I don't know what you're talking about, but I feel like this movie is largely forgotten, and because people are like, oh yeah, Bug's Life. That's the one like Three Amigos, and it is the story like Three Amigos.
But does it suffer because it came in that intro of Pixar when they were just on such a roll with everybody, and this one is maybe slightly more forgettable.
No, this is the second movie they had. Like, it was Toy Story and this one.
But if Pixar released this now, this would be like one of the greatest. This would win an Oscar, Bugs Life.
Because it didn't win an Oscar because there wasn't a best animated feature back then.
There wasn't?
No, not until 2001. The first winner of the best animated feature was Shrek.
Oh, okay.
And it beat one of my top ones, and I was really bugged about that.
Shrek fully deserved.
Well deserved, honestly.
Very well
come
deserved.
on.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, come on.
Dude, see,
because it goes
honestly,
against the grain. Because it's not food conform. Because it's dark and gritty.
Shrek is dark
and it has fart
gritty.
jokes, and Kent loves fart jokes.
Okay, it has Smash
I thought
Mouth.
he just loved farting.
It has
He loves Smash
Mouth,
Mouth.
and that's
Don't
why it
touch
should win
my
an
hands.
Oscar. Joel, let's touch hands again.
No. We're supposed to go fast in these. Bug's Life also came with Jerry's Game, which I do like that short with the old man playing chess with himself. It's a clever little thing there.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, but this is the one that we talked about this on our Twin Movies show, where Ants came out at the same time. But this is definitely superior to Ants, and this is a really enjoyable film.
All right, keep going.
I don't even know what number we're on. Are we on 10?
No, that was 10. Did you do your 10?
I did not do 10.
Do your 10.
Number 10 is Ratatouille.
10?
Yep. Here's the concept.
10.
That seems low.
We got a rat in beautiful, and it is, once again, the animation's great. Beautiful France, right? It's a rat, and he's a cook. Because rats shouldn't be allowed in kitchens. What are we going to call it? Rat, mouse.
It's the name of the dish. It's the name of the dish.
Yeah, it's the name of the dish. And it just happens to have rat in it. That is clever. I would pat myself on the back if I came up with that, let's be honest.
Who hurt you, Kent? Who hurt you?
Ratatouille hurt me because there's nothing there.
Nothing there.
There's nothing there. It's a rat that secretly communicates with this chef, or the guy doesn't know how to cook. And there's really
everyone can cook.
So I actually finally finished this one this week because I saw half of it years ago, and so I decided to watch the whole thing now. And it really just kind of came and went. There was no ending here. They're like, the food critic's coming, and you know what this movie does?
No.
It basically says, hey, critics, we get it. We know you're children inside.
You want to know? You want to know?
And we know you want to experience the beauty that you grew up with.
This is why he doesn't like it.
That's exactly why Kent doesn't like it.
It's so serving.
This movie,
it is so serving of the critics that love it. No, it doesn't.
It does critique critics, and that's why Kent doesn't like it. Now I know.
No. No, I would actually say they do the critic more service than anyone. They lift him up and they go, he's just a child inside that wants to experience beauty.
They say it's easy to criticize. It's harder to do. And that's basically the point of the movie.
Except,
Kent,
the other point of the
Kent
movie is to soften the critics, which apparently it didn't do.
Not for me.
Too hard.
And
it wasn't as in your face as Lady in the Water about bashing on critics.
Yeah, that's when critics are like, what are you saying about us? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, the Ratatouille is not in your face at all. I think that's actually part of its charm, is it's not trying to be Cars. It's not trying to be these other things. It's a rat in Paris. Like, who would have cared?
And the merchandising wasn't very good for this one either. So
right.
No, there's no merchandising.
I'm sorry,
about that
but
later.
having Patton Oswalt, like one of the most crude comics out there, is your main Pixar character.
Kent,
there's some slight...
Bob Saget was Danny Tanner for years.
Yes, but remember, he didn't go dark until he wanted to rebel.
He was a blue comic.
Are you sure?
I know he was a blue comic.
Did you see him in Full House? There's no way that guy was a blue comic.
He was a blue comic, and that's why he was so frustrated doing Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, because they were both so squeaky clean.
Yeah, but I was a kid back then. Now I'm an adult, and I know Patton Oswalt, and I go, really? Making a kid's movie, huh?
I think we understand why he hates this.
I think we got that.
Okay.
Next.
Kent, what's your number 9?
Number 9 is Cars.
There's like nothing to say.
And the IMDb summary is, it's like they weren't even trying anymore. I think they had some great concept going in, and like Jake talked about, there was probably a meeting where he's like, I love cars. Mm-hmm. What should we call it? Cars.
No, it's a thing. Joel will probably have info on it.
Yeah, and that's all I have.
All right. My number 9 is Finding Nemo.
Oh, that is low for you.
Wow. These are all good. This is 99%
Why
of
do
Rotten
you
Tomatoes.
hate Finding Nemo?
This one, best animated film.
Who hurt you?
No, Finding Nemo actually did kind of
He almost
disturb me
drowned when he was a kid.
And I've talked about this on previous episodes of Baconsale, but this movie to me was so stressful because it felt like Meet the Parents, where it was just like bad thing happening after bad thing after the bad thing happening. I'm like, let something good happen, and I was getting so stressed out about it. But animation is spectacular. It is beautiful to watch.
For its time, it's remarkable.
And I do enjoy this movie. This is the best-selling DVD title of all time, by the way.
Really?
And then once again, National Geographic said, ironically, Finding Nemo, a movie about the anguish of a captured clownfish, caused home aquarium demand for them to triple.
Oh, okay. That's where you're going with that. Triple.
People want clownfish, and they don't know how to take care of them, and then they try to release them back into the wild and kill them, and it's just been horrible for clownfish. Don't get your kids a clownfish. They're not great pets. But Finding Nemo, a lot of people love this one.
Are any fish great pets?
No. Fish are kind of terrible pets.
Yeah, they're not really pets at all. You just kind of watch them swim around.
I had goldfish, and I was rooting for one of them to die, at least. Yes. And they lasted for a year. They didn't die after 2 weeks like I thought they would.
But I do enjoy Finding Nemo. So anyone from here on out, by the way.
Fun fact, this was a big accomplishment for Pixar because when they made Toy Story, they could not animate water. It was impossible for them to animate water. And so when they actually reached this pinnacle where they did Finding Nemo, I mean, look at it. Mm-hmm. It looks incredible. And
it does.
It was a big milestone for them.
It was. All right. My number 8, is that what we're on?
Yes.
Okay. My number 8 is Toy Story 2. 100% of Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the high. There's 2 that got 100% Rotten Tomatoes, and Kent's going to be like, "Well, Rotten Tomatoes wasn't even around back in 1999, and I'm a critic, and that's why I hate Ratatouille."
He loves Rotten Tomatoes now.
He does. Oh, that's right. You love it now.
It's right. Like
and
back
Pixar.
when Casablanca came out and Rotten Tomatoes gave it high ratings, and everyone loved it because
it's
of that.
impossible. Now, Kent gets after me every time on the movies too. It's impossible to go back to a movie that came out before the year it came out and rate it now.
Hindsight is pretty easy, Joel.
If you're watching it for the first time.
Oh, please. You think critics are watching Casablanca for the first
time
Casablanca and then writing their reviews? No, they are not.
That's what I do. I watched Casablanca for the first time.
Are you a Rotten Tomatoes critic?
Ago.
Do you write? Are you one of the 100 Rotten Tomatoes critics?
I am.
I'm going to strangle you right now. There is so much bad blood between us at this point. First of all, how'd you get on there before me? Second of all, what have you done?
Anyway, Toy Story
wants to be
2.
on there. Let that record show too.
That's the jealousy. Really.
No, Toy Story 2 is Pixar's first sequel. It was their third movie, and a lot of times sequels don't really reach the accomplishment of the first movie. I can't even talk right now.
Okay.
But this one, a lot of people like it better than Toy Story 1. I'm not one of those people.
I go back and forth, honestly.
I thought it was okay, and it was nominated for Best Original Song. That was it, because they didn't have the movie back then.
Somebody loves me, or you, whatever. It's one of us.
But the short that accompanied this one, kind of weak. It was the Look So Junior, the lantern one, which is fine, but that's, they show that little Pixar bouncing lantern every time, so it didn't feel as cool.
It wasn't that dumb bunny one, was it?
No. It's the one with the lamp.
Okay.
Bunny.
Yeah.
That
Sounds
stupid
familiar.
dumb bunny one, whatever that was. I'm sure you'll get to
Bounden?
that. Bounden. Bounden's the worst.
That's
Incredibles.
not the worst.
Was that Incredibles?
That is Incredibles.
Okay.
You're bashing
Bounden is the
Incredibles.
worst.
I liked Bounden.
Really?
I like Bounden too.
It made me smirk. Like I couldn't resist.
Yeah. It's so happy.
It is so happy.
All right, Ken, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Finding Nemo.
Okay, so you're getting after me. You ranked that so low at number 9. Mine's number 8.
A single father clownfish loses his son, which he hopes to retrieve so he can change genders and mate with him.
Whoa! Don't bring science into this. What are you doing?
Sorry to bring science and fact.
Okay, so
Am I wrong?
No, do you want
Am I wrong?
I did
Why
not
don't you
see that
explain that
coming.
in a family-friendly manner?
And also let the record show that Kent likes Finding Nemo better than Joel.
There was a There was
It's because it's dark.
Hey, keep in mind, I only like 4 of these. There was this one time when we all worked at the same job. Do you guys remember that? It was like a million years ago.
We were so young then.
And I was doing a review on aquarium screensaver software. And I remember everyone was in a meeting and they were all really busy. And I'm doing this research. And I, for some reason, looked up clownfish. I don't know why. It just I think I felt inspired. And I read on the internet, which never lies, how clownfish, the male clownfish, can change genders at will, and they will then reproduce with their children. And I was so dumbfounded by this and so taken aback.
If you're listening to this, I'm sorry for Uncle Kent.
Uncle Kent, huh?
Wow.
Cut it out. All right. Have mercy. And so here,
Just said Jesse and Joey.
yeah, I can't decide which one I want to be.
Oh.
Probably Jesse.
You're probably Joey.
Ah, dang it. So
The jackalope.
yes.
Fast and blue. I'll never catch me.
So I interrupted a
myself right
meeting.
now.
I remember, Joel, that's when you had an office. I interrupted a meeting and everything. I said, did you guys know this about Finding Nemo? Finding Nemo lied to us. And I told this whole
Wait, I thought
thing.
you interrupted us to tell us that you could do excessive poop feature on the aquarium.
That was
what it was.
the other part of
And
it.
then you showed us how you could do a handstand.
and then I talked about the dolphin when you can touch the dolphin.
If any of you are looking to hire Kent, email baconsalepodcast@gmail.com.
I have a job now. But really, I was so excited by this news and the fact that they didn't do their research and chose a clownfish when they could have they basically chose a clownfish because it's pretty and they wanted the joke of having a clownfish telling a joke.
Yeah, but also he saw some clownfish in an aquarium and they were kind of poking out of a sea anemone and he thought it was funny that a clownfish was poking its face in and out.
Not so funny when
playing
they...
Kent,
Sure.
stop. All right, so that's your number 8. That was number 8. So you go on to number 7.
My number 7 is Brave.
That high?
Yeah. Merida.
You're not even Scottish.
Merida, a fiery ginger, curses her mom.
No, do it in Scottish accent.
Oh, no. Merida. Merida. Merida, a fiery ginger, curses her mom and turns her into a bear.
That was Australian.
Yeah,
Bad dinkum. Everything turns into Australian. This movie, when I originally saw it, I gave it a pretty low rating, which was bad because when I was on the radio when I did this.
What grade are we looking at here at this point in your list when we're getting to number 7? What are we looking at?
Well, originally it was pretty low, around a C, and I remember when I went into the station to review this movie, and the director of Brave was there, and we were interviewing him, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? My name's Kenny, and I'm a movie critic," and he goes, "Oh, that's fine, you're good," and he didn't want to talk to me because he knew Brave was kind of getting lesser reviews than any other Pixar movie.
Awkward.
A little awkward. And I was like, "No, you're fine." And
Were you doing your Scottish accent at the time?
I was.
That could be why he walked
Merida.
away.
It's about Merida.
Dinkum.
It's down the crows. So
Aussie.
Throughout the years, thank you for just saying Aussie.
That was just for you.
And it's not Aussie.
I know. That's why I said it.
Throughout the years, and it's because I have 2 young daughters, I watched this again and again. And for me, this is the straightforward story that I like more and more because it's not so concept driven. It's just a nice story that has a beginning and an end. And it's got its cutesy parts.
Do have a beginning and an end.
No, most of them have a great beginning, and then let's make this movie.
It's pretty vanilla the entire time. Like, in fact, when the bear stuff started happening, I was like, "What is this?"
See, for me, I liked the story between she and her mom. I liked that she had 2 parents that she struggled with. I liked that she had her independence. And over the years, I've warmed up to this movie, where now it's probably a B- for me.
Whoa.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, right?
That is pretty crazy.
Okay, C+.
Surprised it's not his
Let's
number
not
one.
get crazy. Let's not get crazy.
Ken loves Pixar.
Do not say that.
All right, my number 7
We're
is
Scottish redheads.
My number 7.
That.
We talked about it a couple of times already. Well, no, have we talked about Cars yet? My number 7 is
haven't.
Cars. I think that Cars it lost to Happy Feet. It lost Best Animated Picture to Happy Feet. That is an
Happy
injustice.
Feet boils my blood.
That is an injustice.
What does that mean exactly?
And I started wondering, why on earth would Disney or Pixar, I guess, well, probably Disney, try to make a franchise of their lowest rated on Rotten Tomatoes film? And then I realized it's because of merchandising, $10 billion in the 5 years after its release. That's why they keep making these Cars movies, because they can merchandise the crap out of them. And that's what they keep doing. But as much as people say, "Hey, it's a ripoff of Doc Hollywood. Hey, it's such a bland story. Hey."
Who does that? What voice is that?
And he's doing jazz hands too while he's doing this.
So, in spite of the fact that Kent has said
know
that,
what
and
accent
that
that
was
is.
my Kent impersonation.
Oh, it was Ken.
That's my voice.
Apparently so.
Hi, Merida.
Ratatouille makes fun of critics. But I feel like Cars, and this is, now we're into B territory. Like, I like Cars. Like, this is a good movie, and I think it's a fun movie. I like the characters they bring up, the ensemble of characters. And since, with Cars 2 and Cars 3, the characters have gotten less impressive, especially Mater. Mm-hmm. But at the time, those were great, and they were good, like, representations of different occupations and different types of people and things like that. I want to go to Disneyland or I want to go to California Adventure because I want to go to Cars Land, because I think that will be fun for me and for the kids.
That ride sucks.
It does?
It does.
We don't even go to Disneyland. You like Disney World.
You'll wait an hour and an hour and a half for it.
And it's
And
I'm a
car's
celebrity.
going 40 miles per hour.
that's exactly. If you've ever been in a car driving slow, you've experienced this ride. Like, not even kidding.
Also, this actually turned out to be Paul Newman's highest grossing film of his career.
That's
that not
disgusting.
weird? Is that not strange?
I mean,
That's a
it
big
makes
laugh.
sense because it's a cartoon. Kids go see these movies. They're not going to go see Cool Hand Luke.
No.
But, yeah.
Unless they're fans of eggs.
Nor should they.
But
Are you kidding?
And this was actually...
You want kids to go see Cool Hand
No,
Luke?
I'm saying, but you don't like Cool Hand Luke?
No, I can appreciate it, although it's depressing.
Oh, I love it.
Because it's depressing.
It's super
Because
depressing.
it's an actual film.
I like depressing and dark films.
Guys, it's an actual film, like a quality film.
Yes.
I'm crazy.
Yeah,
I
it
like
is.
depth.
Cars is. And actually...
I did not say that.
Stop talking about cars.
I own...
Cars.
Out of all these movies we talked about, I own
Planes.
7 of them, I think.
Okay.
And so I do own Toy Story 2, I do own Cars, and I do own my number 6, which is Ratatouille, which features one of my all-time favorite Pixar moments ever.
I think 6 is fair.
I
like that.
What is it?
It's the moment you hated, but I loved it. The part when they're making the dish and they're like, "What are we going to give this critic? He's going to hate everything. What do we do? What do we do?" And they're like, "Hey, make this peasant dish." And they're like, "No, that's ridiculous. We're not going to make that." They make it for him, and then the moment when he takes the bite it goes into his eyeball, and you see him as a little child and see that flashback. It tells you exactly what you need every single time. Every time, it tells you what you need, and every single time I watch that movie, I get a little emotional.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
It's like 10 seconds long.
I know. And
Wow.
it gets me every single time. And it's because it was done so beautifully in the story and in the animation.
I
and
wish I
really
had a
do enjoy
heart
it.
to experience what you're feeling.
It made me nostalgic for home and for meals and
And
yeah,
we
all
did
those things.
we have made ratatouille in our house because of this movie.
It's all vegetables, though.
Yeah.
You hate vegetables.
No, I don't.
Come on.
I don't.
I actually tried to make it too because of
Yeah?
that, and I was like, too many vegetables.
Hey,
There was a
just-
lot of
Just
vegetables.
get a mouse.
Yeah.
Just get a rat.
Wait, am I going to eat the rat, or is he going to
You're
cook
probably
for
going to
me?
end up. Hey, look, where you're from, you're going to eat the rat.
Ratatouille is also accompanied with one of my favorite shorts, which is Lifted, which is the alien abduction one.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one. That one in Presto and One Man Band, I think maybe my favorites. But they actually, when they came out with the merchandising of this, they wanted to come out with a Ratatouille brand of wine, and then someone went, "Hey, this is a kids movie. Don't put Ratatouille on a bottle of wine." And so they went, "Oh yeah, probably bad idea." And also, I want to quote something. They got the food, the reactions to the food, and the tiny details to food really right, down to the barely noticeable pink burns on one of the characters' forearms. I really thought it captured a passionate love for food in a way that very few other films have. Anthony Bourdain.
Peter Travers? Oh.
Anthony Bourdain, professional cook, loves this movie. Anybody can cook.
Anthony Bourdain is pretty much the Peter Travers of the cooking world.
This also won Best Academy Award
dear.
for Best Animated Film.
Typical.
So that was my number 6. Kent, your number 6?
My number 6 is Toy Story 3.
Wow.
To me, it is the lesser of all of the Toy Story movies. A bug flew into Jake's shirt.
That is so weird. Freaks me out.
It was a rat. It's trying to control you.
He landed on my leg
Yeah.
earlier, and I was like,
It landed on my pillow.
So Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3 is 6. What letter grade are we looking at here? Are we into the B range
it's
at this
the
point?
lava scene.
This would be B minus.
Gosh.
Maybe C plus.
Get a heart, man.
No, Toy Story 3 is
Ratatouille is probably a B plus. for me.
unlike Up. It ends with a great moment of emotion, but really the movie leading up to it is not great.
Not great. It's one of the best.
It is the same recycled jokes, except for this time it's kids. In fact, fun fact: this one was meant to be a straight to video feature because they're like, I don't know, we've already made Toy Story 2 and it did really well, but will people still watch it? Because it's been 14 years.
Turns out they will.
It turns out they will, and people universally love this
That
one.
crap made a ton of money.
But I'm sorry, I didn't care for it at all. They kind of reuse the whole thing where it's like a toy's been left behind, and that's kind of the sad thing.
Do you guys hear that? That's the absence of a heartbeat from Kent.
I am sure people are going to say there's no music in my heart because of this show.
Music in your soul.
Music in my soul.
I didn't care for it either, actually.
But I will own it.
It's
Well,
okay.
You don't have a heart.
I
either.
think I actually really do appreciate the fact that that time has progressed. That Andy is off to college. Because the first two, it's kind of like, oh, Andy's still young and still kind of playing with toys.
Right.
Whereas this one, I enjoy it when animated movies are willing to take that risk.
And they progress. They progress
where
the story.
things grow. The toys don't grow, but really Andy grew, and the toys are trying to figure out what's going on. But it does follow the same story as the other two Toy Story movies, which is, hey, we lost one of them. Let's go on this journey to get one back. And then it's all just hijinks at that point. And that's what the whole movie leads to, except for a great emotional ending. That's not enough to save the movie.
Would have liked the movie if they would have burned. That's when he would have been
Probably.
like, this is a good movie.
I
like this movie. All the toys that burned up in the fire.
IMDb says, this is the synopsis. It says, the toys deal with kids with sticky hands at a daycare. Then the audience cries because of toys they gave to the DI once upon a time. Everyone's like, I remember my toys.
This one gets me too.
Yeah.
This one gets me too.
Yeah.
Almost all these are going to get me to cry.
At the end, like when the lava and
no,
whatever?
no. It's the part when he's saying goodbye to his toys. I don't know why. Well, I know why. It gets me. Yeah.
Yeah, it plays
right.
on nostalgia, and that's what Pixar does.
Kent, we are entering
little manipulative.
the top 5.
Ooh,
Top 5.
Top 5.
Start us off with your top 5. Are we into A range?
No, we are not.
Gosh.
We're still in B minus.
Ratatouille is probably an A minus for me. B plus A minus.
Holy
It's right
cow.
there. Yeah.
This one I really struggled with because I didn't want to put it in top 5.
This was the
Top
threshold
5.
one, right?
But here, my official number 5, and I have to do it because of Baconsale. It is A Bug's Life.
Oh,
A Bug's Life is a tier 2 movie for Pixar. But it's their 5th best movie because of the villain. The villain is that.
Oh, gosh, don't.
Hey, at least he didn't go number 1.
And look, it's not super original. This is basically a Seven Samurai, Magnificent
Amigos.
Seven,
Yep.
or Three Amigos, which stole that same trope as well.
It did, but it's a comedy, so that's why I compared it to that. 'cause,
Okay,
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I do think the ensemble of characters is that fun. And yes, it gets lost kind of in the shuffle. We talked about this on the Twin
I'm
Show.
a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah, I mean,
My name's Kate Dunn.
and just to have the ladybug, who played him?
Hold on. You're mad at the clownfish joke, but you're not mad at the ladybug joke.
The ladybug was funny because everyone's like, he's like, I'm not a lady.
I'm not a clown. I don't tell jokes.
Yeah, but the clownfish, it's something weird about them. We talked about that science.
Stop.
Not every ladybug has to be a lady, Joel.
It's Dennis Leary.
But I really enjoyed the circus troupe. I think this is kind of a forgettable movie.
Circus troupe or circus trope?
Trope.
It's trope.
Yeah, okay.
But
I was like,
trope,
wait.
yeah. It's cliche. Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
But I didn't, it's not super original. And the ants, I could take him or leave him with Flick. Really, there's nothing special there.
Yeah.
But this is the fifth best Pixar movie.
Mostly because of Hopper, though.
All because of Hopper.
All because of Hopper.
Hopper is one of the most powerful villains in cinematic.
He'd have been squished. He'd have been squished in a heartbeat. And that was the bug. That was the stupid thing that bugged me too. Is everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's commanding insects." I'm like, he never commanded insects. In fact, a listener brought up a very good
Billions
point.
of locusts.
The whole
Joel.
point of the movie is that he can't command a group. That's the whole point of the movie.
Well, actually,
do you love how he's like, I'm not talking about
Censor.
this.
He normally does, though. It's just this is the instance where
his
where
people
they
turn against him.
revolt.
Jacob,
This
you
is the
obviously haven't
only
seen the
time.
movie.
I
You
have
obviously
seen the
haven't
movie.
Jake, let him keep going.
Okay.
Because he hates talking about this. Let him keep going. All right, Joel, what's your number 5?
My top 5 is we're getting
Bug's
here
Life.
with Up. Up. I love the emotional start. I love the fantasy. I think the comedy is solid the entire time. The animation is beautiful. It's an original fantasy story. And I know Kent's not big into fantasy because he doesn't really like fantasy tales. But a fantastic tale about a guy, lifting up his house with the balloons and going through a jungle, like it does a great job with that.
Can I ask a question though?
No, you already went on your diatribe.
Remember when I talked about Up, you were talking the entire time. Do you feel like the environments were kind of lacking?
No.
I felt the jungle wasn't great. I thought
I like the house with the construction. This is one of the first Disney animated movies to show human blood ever.
What?
When he gets hit in the head with the cane. I liked the journey through the clouds, and I like how they don't try to explain it. It's like, yeah, he has balloons. Yeah, he ended up here. This is where our story begins, and that's fine.
It's a great short.
It's a great movie, and I love Doug. I think Doug is hilarious, and even though you hate him because he's quotable,
I hid under your
hilarious.
porch because I love you.
And I like I forgot his name.
Is that something like that?
I hid under my porch because I love you. The leader dog who has the high voice because his voice thing is broken. I get a kick out of that every time he talks. It made me laugh. So this is a funny
adorable.
movie. It's a touching movie. $735 million worldwide. 98% of Rotten Tomatoes. Won Best Animated Feature and Best Original Score. And it was accompanied with Partly Cloudy, which was the one about the storks, which was pretty darn entertaining too. So,
all right. So
my number 5. My number 4.
Number 4. All right.
My number 4 is Toy Story 3. I felt like this was a beautiful ending to a great trilogy.
It's not an ending, though.
Yeah, there's Toy Story 4 coming up.
But I think that's basically going to be like Crystal Skull. I have my trilogy.
You'll still love it. You'll be like, it's in my...
I don't know.
15
They're
movies.
not doing really great lately. But Toy Story 3, I felt, was a great bookend to the story of Toy Story. I liked the angle of lots of hug and bear and the whole prison break kind of angle to it. I like how they advanced some characters and got a little more backstory on them. I like the ending, especially I like the ending, like how you think. Like for a moment, I'm like, are they really going to kill off characters? Because how are they going to get this? And they bring back the claw, which was this callback from, they had in each one of the movies. But to do that moment was perfect for the movie. I thought this was a near perfect movie. This is definitely an A range for me. And it did win Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song. And it was accompanied with Day and Night, which was okay short. That was about the two sides. One's day, one's night, and the people go back and forth. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
Nope.
It's entertaining. So there you go. That's my number 4.
My number 4 is Toy Story 2. Like I said, I struggle with this one in Toy Story because I really do think this one helped advance the characters. I don't think this story is not quite as good or as revolutionary, but I do feel like Jessie and Bullseye are great additions.
They're good additions. Yeah, I agree.
To the Toy Story universe. And yeah, this one is actually very endearing. And that's why I think this one does so much right with the feelings of toys being left behind that Toy Story 3 kind of just copies. It becomes the Bourne supremacy to the Bourne's ultimatum.
Wow. Can you imagine what Woody would do with a rolled up magazine?
Exactly. Look, I watch any of the Toy Story movies and I kind of go, which one is this? And the only way I can really tell, because they do have the same story throughout, is the quality of animation. Because 3 clearly has the best animation because it's much, much later.
Yeah, they've advanced technology.
But I think emotionally, this one hits right. I like the angle that it goes with the collector's aspect and what Woody has to struggle with. And I think Buzz is a great character, whereas I didn't think Buzz was a good character at all in Toy Story 3. I think they kind of ruined him and wasted him.
I don't think they ruined him. I just think he had done his story, and so they didn't know what to do with him.
Like, yeah, I think they just didn't know what to do with him.
So they made him forget who he was again.
Right.
But I like
Again.
it. It's okay. It's formulaic. It's fine.
Right. I'm not trying to disagree with you, but I do think Toy Story 2, and this is where I get...
So I put Toy Story 2 lower, and you put Toy Story 3 lower,
Yeah,
right?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I think Toy Story 2 is actually great.
Great.
We're into great territory.
Is this because of the 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
This is B+.
It's great. B+. I'm not giving it that A range yet.
Nope.
My name's Kent Dunn. Yeah, go ahead.
My number 3, it came out in 2001. It's Monsters, Inc. This is a tier 1 Pixar movie.
Okay.
I think from concept...
Mine's number 3 too.
Okay.
Can we
do a high five? I need a high five from you.
We have not really agreed on a lot of these, but
I've talked a lot about concept, and this one from start to finish follows through with the concept. Even the end, and it's not like an emotional punch, except for like the whole Boo thing, but just kind of like it's not.
That gets me.
Like the twist that they're like, well, we can use laughter to power this. I'm like, man, this works so well.
Yeah, it's a good concept.
Yeah,
and the part so the part that gets me in Up is obviously the beginning. The part that gets me in Toy Story 3 is when he's giving away his toys. The part that gets me in Monsters Inc. is the ending when he opens up the door and then the Boo says, "Kitty." I don't know why. Every single stupid time I get watery-eyed at that moment.
You are a sweetheart.
Every time.
He is.
Oh, it gets me.
I feel like I need to get you a tissue right now.
By the way, this one, I almost started crying just then talking about it. But this one is the one that lost to Shrek. This is the first year the Best Animated Feature was part of the Academy Awards, and Monsters Inc. lost to
actually,
Shrek.
I would give the win to Monsters Inc.
Thank you.
Like, I think Shrek did a lot for animation until they kept going. I actually think Shrek 2 is the better Shrek movie.
I do as well.
But I do think Monsters Inc. is probably a better movie than Shrek.
It is. And this was the one where they had to do some groundbreaking technology on Sully's fur. Like they couldn't do it the way they wanted to do it. They were going to make him kind of an octopus type creature, but it wasn't looking right. So they made him a furry creature and had to do some sort of amazing new technology for it. I'm not smart enough to get into it, but 577 worldwide, which is the third largest U.S. animated feature all time after Toy Story 3 and Finding Nemo.
All right.
Wow. So Pixar's kind of got the market on that. By the way, it lost Best Original Score to Fellowship of the Ring, Kent. And it lost sound editing to Pearl Harbor.
Well, sound editing. But obviously, the Lord of the Rings should take that.
This came with the short For the Birds, which is about the big gawky bird who wants to be on the power line with all the little birds.
Man, why do I forget about all of these?
What?
Yeah.
That's one of the classic ones. Everyone loves that
15 years ago or something.
Right.
Yeah. But number 3, Monsters, Inc.
Yep.
Are we going to agree on our top 3?
Yes.
We probably are going to agree on our top 3.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to take on a limb here and
More
say...
hand clapping.
Let me hear your hand clap. Thank you. My number 2 is Toy Story.
Toy Story.
The original Toy Story.
Yeah. Came out in 1995.
And people forget how revolutionary this movie was, because a computer animated film had never been done before feature length. This was groundbreaking, and this was a huge undertaking. And it was also like Pixar's first big swing at the fences, and like with Disney and everything.
And it was interesting writing.
And it was a good story. I mean, they had a whole story initially where Woody was kind of this dictator leader and like Buzz came in to save them. And I'm so glad they went away from that, because the dynamic between Buzz and Woody is perfect in this movie. And then it builds in the other movies.
I think it works because, yes, you have your toys that only move when you're not watching. And that's such a fun concept. But the fact is, Buzz came in not really knowing what he was. And there had to be that discovery that really kind of helped progress the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I also think it's funny because this is the one where Disney and Pixar were trying to figure out their relationship, and Disney kept coming back. Jeffrey Katzenberg. Jeffrey Katzenberg, is that his name?
Are you sure it's Katzenberg? Yeah.
It's Katzenberg.
Yes.
But he kept coming back and said, "I want the characters more edgy. I want the characters more edgy. Make it more edgy. Make it more edgy.
We need Slinky Dog to be more edgy.
More edgy." And then they showed him a rough cut of it, and they were like, "These characters are jerks." And they're like, "Pull back the edginess." So then they let Pixar take control again and make it into a wonderful, wonderful first feature.
You got a friend in me.
When they came
Randy
back
Newman can't hold a note, by the way.
Yeah. To pull off the edginess, Joss Whedon actually came in and added some jokes and humor to it.
Oh, yeah?
He's credited as a screenwriter.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And this is 100% as well. In fact, the only two that got 100% were this movie and Toy Story 2.
This is the Buffy man that you're
Toy Story
about.
3.
Yeah, and that was even in the good days, but ugh.
Yeah. Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 are the only ones that have 100% of Rotten Tomatoes. And they both came out before Rotten Tomatoes, but critics can't look in the past.
In hindsight, I think everyone else likes this movie, so I'm giving it a good review.
That sounds like you.
Wait, I'm one of the Rotten Tomatoes critics.
Yeah.
So you think it's probably fair when they look back, Joel? So
Yeah.
what do you think the Marnie review is on Rotten Tomatoes?
Probably 0.
Look that up right now.
I just looked it up, actually.
What is it?
88%.
Yeah. I love Rotten Tomatoes. I'm Joel this time.
Only
Metadata.
Only part of that's going to be quoted, by the way. But Randy Newman, you brought about him. He wrote "You've Got a Friend in Me" and a couple of the other songs in one day.
Really?
Yeah, he wrote them in one day. So talented guy.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's
Both number 2, and now
a very cool movie.
Now we're there, guys. Now we're there.
The number 1. And if you haven't guessed it already, it's because you're not a big Pixar fan and don't know which one we haven't talked about yet, because we haven't talked about it
And we're
yet.
boys. So number 1 is The
Cars
Incredible.
3.
No,
Oh, no.
Joel.
No.
Joel, no. It's Planes.
The Incredible Hulk.
It's Planes, Fire, and
Planes.
Rescue.
It's
Which
Coco.
was-
Planes.
Planes was meant to be a Pixar movie, and then they're like, this isn't very good. Let's give it to Disney.
Yeah, basically.
Disney, release it.
No, number 1 is The Incredibles.
Yes.
Kent and I have actually talked about this before. And is this an A movie?
It's an A minus.
Are you kidding me?
It's an A minus.
Your number 1 Pixar movie is an A minus.
Yeah.
This is like an A plus for me, Kent.
There's no pluses.
No,
What is this? Extra credit? There's no such thing.
I will watch
This is
this
a
one.
college rating scale.
Kent, there's an A plus.
Oh, is there a 5+ on your rating?
Yes.
It's not a 5.5.
Since I'm a critic on Rotten Tomatoes, they let me have a plus.
You get away with murder.
When you're there, you'll understand.
The funny thing about Pixar is they a lot of time have co-directors and co-writers, and it's all like a team effort. This is basically all Brad Bird.
Which is cool.
This is
Brad
him doing
Bird, who
everything.
did Iron Giant before.
Yeah.
And they're bringing him on for 2, right? Brad
Yeah,
Bird?
yes.
I hope so.
This beat Shrek 2 for Best Animated Feature.
Really?
Yeah. Would you agree with that? Or would you give it to Shrek 2?
Oh, that's tough.
No, it's not.
I think
No,
that's
it's
actually
not.
tough.
No, it's not, because Shrek is kitsch.
There's Smash
Incredibles
Mouth in
is original.
Shrek 2. Smash Mouth is on the soundtrack. I'm joking, obviously.
I'm sure you are. Also, this was a company with Bounden.
Yeah, Bounden.
Which is the rabbit jumping around to the cowboy talking on the guitar.
Cool.
It was a fun one.
Kids love it.
Which they're doing Incredibles 2.
Are you worried?
I am, because this one is my favorite. This one is so much fun to watch. It's a family of superheroes.
I think it's overdue, honestly.
Well,
I'm okay with a lot of
here's-
them. A lot of them should not have sequels. This is one I felt like they set up for a sequel.
And I think I'm going to give it an A- because it's really not original. No, I love this movie. It's not original. It's
The Watchmen came out before.
it's Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
done right.
Which Fantastic Four was actually the movie.
Yes.
Was made after this, and they had to change some things because it was too similar to the Incredibles.
Right, even though this stole everything from comics.
Yeah.
But this is the version done right.
This is
And
Pixar's
thank
first
goodness.
film to be rated PG for action violence.
Ooh.
And back then I was a big fan of Jason Lee, and I think he plays a great villain. He's a comic book fan in most
Yeah.
of his movies anyway, so I thought that was a nice little Easter egg.
It was, and he plays a good Syndrome.
Yeah, Syndrome. Yes.
Syndrome.
Who didn't
Yeah.
last very long on our villains bracket. If you go back and listen to that. But I think this movie just hits the right notes in the sense of it's a good story done in the right way, like the stylized, like the 60s spy kind of angle they had going on with the soundtrack and everything.
Right.
Fantastic. And just overall, this is a great movie and quotable, which is why I'm surprised that you like it so much. Because how many times have you
It is
heard the
quotable.
phrase, no caps?
Okay, No Capes is fine, but I've never quoted this movie.
What?
Except for on episode 34 and 72. I probably said No Capes a few times.
Can't
But
like to
I
quote
actually
movies.
don't know it for the
Say
quotes.
It. Say it, you like to quote movies.
I like this movie for Elastigirl,
Okay.
right? No, I'm just kidding. There are a lot, obviously a lot of reasons to like this movie. I think the family dynamic is great. The dinner scene is near perfect.
Yeah.
I do like how the characters all fit into their personalities. Like I think it was Brad Bird who talked about it. He said, traditionally the man of the house is supposed to be the strong one. The woman is pulled in all different directions. The teenage girl just wants to be invisible, and the little boy's bouncing off the walls.
Right.
And and
then there's Jack
babies-
Jack.
And Jack is unfulfilled potential, like unpredictable potential or something like
Okay,
that.
I like that.
So I was like, that's a great analogy.
That is.
And it works out great with the characters.
I'm worried about Incredibles 2 as well. Like, I
Good.
think they'll be like, it's the Frozone movie because here's a great character from the first one.
Here's
It's
a great side.
Frozone.
It's a side character we liked. Let's put him in the forefront.
Yeah.
I hope not. I really hope not.
Do you think they're going to have the family grown up? Do you think Dash is going to be a little bit older? Like he's going to be like 17?
I
or-
hope not. I hope they, because they're cartoons. They can keep
Yeah.
them in that era.
But it was so long ago.
I'm okay if they grow up.
You want a darker, grittier reboot?
But then how is it going to be a kids movie if they're all adults?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But people
Good
still
point,
go and see it.
Jacob.
What?
Good point.
Yeah.
Jake, do you have a favorite? We kind of left you.
Yeah, it's Incredibles.
It's
It's
Incredibles.
Incredibles.
Yes.
It's Incredibles.
What's your bottom?
Good Dinosaur for sure. That crap is garbage.
That makes us happy.
So there you go. There's our rankings. 18-1. We've ranked all the Pixar movies. Let us know who you agree with.
It's going to be Joel.
Yep. No, there's probably some people out there who also have no soul.
Join with me.
Yes, but let us know on our Facebook page or on Twitter or on baconsale.com. You don't have to do all 18. If you just want to give us your top 3, bottom 3, or even your top 1 or bottom 1, we'd love to hear from you. We love interacting with you, as you know, unless you start going off on random fights that don't matter and bring up a certain bug that I hate.
You were the one that talked about him in this show.
You brought him up first. No, you brought him up first in the very beginning of
Joel,
this show.
that was bait.
I didn't
That was
technically
bait.
bring him up.
You did. You quoted him.
Well, yeah, I didn't say his name.
I think we all knew.
Long live Hopper.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter, or you can find me at Quickwits. They perform every Saturday night at the Midville Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or the Quickwits Facebook page.
And by the way, people should actually go to the Quickwits on Saturdays. Are you every other
Saturdays.
Saturday roundabout?
I usually perform once or twice a month.
Okay.
At this point, with 76 kids, it's hard to get down there. But
Wow, what happened over the weekend? So many kids.
So many cars to bring them all down.
Yeah.
They fill up the auditorium, though.
they do.
If you want to find me on Twitter and Instagram at that Kenny3DD, and if you want to read my reviews, at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
You can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers and Baconsale on Twitter at Baconsale. And reach for the sky. That's it. So, let's get it started. So, listener, in case it wasn't clear, we're going to start. We're going to go number 18 and down.
Beast keeps running.
Need some candy? Need some sugar?
Is that some of the best yawning you've ever done?
Pour some sugar on me.
I'm going to chase down the lopestone.
But is it the one where someone's pigeonholed into a situation that they don't really want to be in, and so they do their best to fight stereotype and get out of it?
Kent 2017 loves Pixar. And I was like, what's happening in this world?
I'm luring him in, is what I'm doing.
We made a movie about fish. We made a movie about toys. Even monsters. What should we do now? Cars.
All carp, all the time. What can you guys animate? Carp. You make them all carp.
Suckerfish.
Do you want to talk any more about Cars 2, about your 17?
No, I really don't.
We're not starting off with a Hopper joke.
As we all know, I like to play the hipster. Oh, no. Now we have a spin-off show.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Because I just don't care.
And
Everyone was drinking the Kool-Aid because there was weakness
Kool-Aid's
there.
delicious.
Old man balloons.
Old man cry pants.
Don't call him old man balloons. Bing Bong played ping pong with my heart.
All right, that's
And
cute. Not an Oscar-winning cute.
I didn't like it the
that's
first time.
cute.
But you didn't get emotional at all? Oh, you don't
No.
get emotional in movies. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
You're a robot.
Got a lot of hate coming.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes wasn't even around back in 1999, and I'm a critic, and that's why I hate Ratatouille.
Don't bring science into this. What are you doing? Hey, it's a ripoff of Doc Hollywood. Hey, it's such a bland story. Hey, Ratatouille makes fun of critics.
Not every ladybug has to be a lady, Joel.
If you're listening to this, I'm sorry for Uncle Kent.